So
you can't read.
this podcast, because we're doing a double to kind of catch up.
A double means a double in normal people talk.
Is going to be heated. I'm going to give you a disclaimer.
A disclaimer.
This is going to be full opinion only. So if you get butt hurt easily, and this is going to be one of the only times really on the podcast that we talk about politics, I would tune out to this one because you may not like some of the opinions being said. And this is
He gets quite ranty.
This is coming from a complete business and success viewpoint, and let me just say viewpoint. None of the things that are going to be said are factual for anybody but us. So before anybody gets all up in arms, let's just keep her calm and keep an open mind and try to understand each other and where we're coming from, because this does play a key role in the success of your company. So, podcast number 7, Success in Politics.
Oh, they're getting ready out there.
Oh yeah, we have an audience watching.
We have popcorn's getting made.
So,
well, this would be more exciting if we were more opposed on certain topics too. Like, just to let anyone know, we are more to the right. We're Republican, the both of us.
I would say
He's a lot more extreme than I am. I was left for a while, actually,
say libertarian, conservative.
Yeah. But I was during Obama's first term. I was with the left on that one, and then it took, I think, 2 years into it, and I was like, there was a shift in my mindset and the growth as a person, and I started thinking for myself. I was around a lot of people that thought a certain way, and I followed. I was a very sheep-like person. And then I kind of looked at myself, what I liked in the world. I'm not saying because there's a lot of Republican things I don't agree with, but just on a base, And
we'll talk about those too.
And we'll get into that. But like, he's been pretty much Republican forever, and he gets to an extreme point sometimes.
So to start this off, politics didn't really exist to me until around Bush's second term, and even then it was like nothing, because I think we were at like Maverick or something at that time.
We were little babies.
Like it was
17.
like, I don't know, I'm worried about partying and drinking and stuff like that. I don't really care what's going on in the world.
Which, before we get into this crazy shit right here, I need to voice an opinion myself. And I get that the voting age is 18, but my God, looking back at how stupid we were at 18, how do we allow any 18-year-olds to even come close to deciding who runs a country? That's it on that.
And on the flip side, I would say if you can fight to die for the country, you should definitely have that. So I'm like, man, we definitely were stupid, like 100%, like me more than him. But
like my point is, an 18-year-old doesn't understand the future outlook on life generally, because we were 18, we were working, making $200 to $400 every paycheck, and we thought that was the best life ever. I got to play games, live at my mom's house, that kind of stuff.
He was an avid WoW player. Computers for hours.
12-hour days, baby.
So just to give you like some background, we would be starting out, in my mind, and this is just this could be a complete.
Say a train, I'm gonna.
No, there'd be no trains in this. Well, I won't do that. There might be a train. So,
I'll show you.
But I would say, like, when I look at a Democrat or a younger liberal, that's kind of what I envision. I envision video games, TV shows, college, which isn't bad whatsoever, not knocking that, and just a different kind of mindset. When I think of conservatives, I think of, self-improvement and the conserving of money. Like when you get into religion and all that stuff, I am religious, but that's not a big thing for me. Like I don't play into that. When I think of politics, it is strictly economic for me, like 100%. And we will get into everything. So Bush was in, I was kind of looking at it. My parents were very conservative, and I was just like, yeah, that's cool. I'm gonna play this game, Final Fantasy VII or something like that. And the older that I got and started to understand how politics really affected my life, it really didn't hit until I was working at the prison that I became very politically active and really started looking at things and understanding them. And that was at 27. And that's when because in the prison system, they're very unionized, and most unions are very liberal. And so they like to push that ideology on everybody there. And I was not about that ideology. Even though it affected my paychecks and whatnot, I still couldn't comprehend how the state could be driven more and more and more and more into debt. This is going to get touchy. But
this is in Illinois, by the way.
Yes, Illinois. Take correctional officers, for example, what they have to deal with and go through every day. I would say they 100% deserve every amount of pay that they get. I can't really talk for police officers, but I'm sure it's even more intense with them. I'm just talking pure experience. That is it. And because it was intense all the time, complete negativity all the time, getting screamed at all the time, people getting in your face all the time. It was the most negative environment that I could have ever imagined to be in, and that's where I did a lot of my, growing up, so to speak. And so it's not necessarily the rate of pay that I have an issue with. I think that they deserve that and probably more for what they have to deal with. It's the way the Illinois government runs the money through, where you're wasting money in places that don't need money, and you don't have a budget ever. The tax amendment that almost passed, which would have been completely detrimental, which is probably going to pass nationwide now, it was insane to think that they could set any tax rate that they wanted to basically offset the bad spending for people. And what people don't understand is just because you may be a lower income does not mean that it's not going to affect you. I think there's this huge misconception that, the one percenters or millionaires are going to be primarily targeted. Oh no, because those millionaires and one percenters know how to govern their money. They know how to, use their taxes to their benefit and whatnot. So it's going to hurt the middle class more than anything, and it's still going to hurt the lower class. Because here's my prime example with the taxes that we currently pay. So for business tax, I believe it's around 22% federally. And then for Illinois, it's 7%. So there's almost 30% right there in taxes. And where did that money that we're giving help any small business? They allocated money once, and that money dried up, and then there was no more money. and no more assistance, no more help to the people that needed it most. The federal government did an amazing job at getting PPE and, creating a vaccine and whatnot. That's great. That's a great allocation to the money. But again, you're not going to have an economy. You're not going to have money if all these small businesses tank out and they're like, well, maybe I should just, go work at a corporate job or become a manager at Walmart or something of that nature. Take a safer route, because then they're employing less people. And these,
once, if the tax thing passed, a lot of these businesses, like, we don't have employees, we have contractors essentially, and we're self-employed, so our taxes are a little different than, like, say, a McDonald's. We'll use that as an example. If the nationwide tax or the state tax all go up, minimum wage went up, what do they have to cut the cost? Like, say, and McDonald's makes $100,000 a year, and now they have to pay more, so they're going to look at their employee payroll and go, okay, well, I make up the difference there, so I have to pay $20,000 more in taxes. I will pay $20,000 less in payroll, which means hour cuts, pay cuts,
or automation.
People cuts.
Automation is a huge thing. We are in what people don't understand is that automation is here, and these people, just because the government dictates, okay, well, we're going to raise your taxes and you're going to pay your fair share, that is not going to stop a company from, number one, going overseas, which during the entire Obama era, that's what happened. They went overseas and they paid people peanuts, because you can look at it two ways. Us as a business, I will refuse to ever do this. I will refuse to ever shortchange somebody to get ahead. I'm not doing this to screw somebody over. I want to only better people that are around me and that work for me or anything of that nature. Money is, when you start cracking the code to money, it's easier and easier to make. So if it comes down to me, or let's just say, take a number, $100 million. I could make $100 million and pay people a lot less, or I could make $85 million and pay people very good, which is a better retention rate. You're hiring less people. People are happy with their jobs. It's a lot less stress. So what is wrong, and this is not a conservative idea, but the corporate giants are an issue. Walmart is an issue. Take Walmart, for example. Take Rona, for example. All of these small businesses and restaurants that can't serve food, you can go to Walmart and pick up food. I walked into Walmart literally 4 days ago, and I am not exaggerating this at all. I saw at least 200 people in line. I walked into Walmart and I almost walked out, because I thought there was like an event going on, like they had a special sale or something. I was like, holy crap, there's so many people in here in a pandemic, and nobody was skipping a beat. Didn't hear anything. Nothing, not a word. No news, no nothing. Nobody is covering this, but nobody is standing up for these small businesses either. And it's literally, to do what we do, to bleed, to cry, to get depressed, to think of suicide, to move forward. I get heated on this because I understand what these people have had to do and endure to get to where they are in life, and now it's being literally stripped away over safety protocols that aren't even being followed. It makes no sense whatsoever to me. And it's very upsetting, the overreach that I am seeing the government take. I am all about smaller government and better self-governing. That's the whole premise of what we do, is govern yourself better, have healthier habits, protect yourself. If you're scared about going out, don't go out. That kind of a nature. Like, never in the history of, like, literally mankind have we quarantined the world. Generally, you quarantine the sick, and the rest of the world kind of picks up the slack, and the world moves forward. What happens when nobody's picking up the slack? The world stops moving forward. This leads me to what I think is going to happen in the coming up presidency, and that's a gigantic economic crash, the likes of which I don't think people have seen, because the stock market right now, I believe, is bubbled, like completely bubbled. It is so high, but if you really deep dive into it, you're seeing very large corporations pulling their stock out right now, and it's staying up high. And when you take the foundation out of this, like let's say there's more lockdowns, let's say they raise taxes to the astronomical levels that they're planning on raising, you're going to see this thing topple over like never before. And I really think people need to be aware of what's coming. Because what I've found in life, the world works like a pendulum. So it swung this way for Trump, like way over, further than it's ever gone. And it will swing exactly the same amount of distance to the left. And it's going to be very intense. Now, for the left-leaning people out there, I don't hate you. I definitely don't hate you. I really don't think, I mean, to say this in a way, I don't really think about other people. I think about what's happening in my circle. Mm-hmm. And maybe that's selfish, but to do what we do...
That's kind of how it is, you know, we're more... We want to take care of ourselves and our own people. It's kind of like the why send money to all these other countries.
When we need it, right.
You know, and then you got, you know... You could take some left people and just, you know, they'll say, oh, well, we got to help everybody out first. Yeah, that's fine, but in practice, when you're fucking sitting there and you either push a button to help this guy or you fucking, you know, push this button and you can live, you know, you're going to try to keep yourself alive, afloat. You're going to, you know, keeping yourself afloat, you can keep other people afloat. Kind of like how I do my own life. I can't focus solely on other people, like my family, for instance. I can't put them necessarily the highest on my priority list. I have to keep myself here, because if I put them first all the time, I'm not going to take care of myself, and I'm not going to be able to take care of them in the future.
Right, and that leads to the perfect point. If you aren't taking care of yourself, how are you supposed to help other people? So you
we are, as a nation, we're not in a position to help other people. Clearly, we're
right now
trillions in debt. We're more and more in debt each day. I mean, it's just astronomical.
That's another thing.
We're giving away money we don't have. So
we got no way of backing up this money. And I really think that what is about to happen, and this is just a personal thing, maybe it doesn't, maybe I'm wrong, maybe
also
people that watch...
getting penalized, you know? I'm not saying the left or right is the cause, it's a community thing that's government in general that's kind of caused the situation for the country to go completely broke, but then they're taking it on us by trying to throw taxes and regulations and then, you know, trying to get rid of small businesses entirely. It's just...
And I'm going to try and keep this pointed at success in business and how this works, and try to keep most of my personal views out of this as much as humanly possible, because everybody gets heated about this. This is like such a volatile time. The U.S. Congress got taken over in 2 hours, which is astronomical. Now, here's two viewpoints to this. I feel for every one of those people that made the choice to go do that. Should they be penalized? Abso-fucking-lutely. You will not see me going and breaching a courthouse or for any cause. I have my own life to take care of. I can understand why they're super pissed off. I can understand in some aspects why the left is pissed off. You know, there's a lot of viewpoints in this that it gets super hairy and people just lose all logic, it seems. And I'm not happy with the Republican Party right now. And I really, to tell you the God's honest truth, that's why I was super excited about Trump. Because I looked at him at breaking the two-party system. Because he wasn't necessarily conservative. Most of the conservatives did not like him at all. but he changed the scope forever. And this is how much the scope has changed now. It's the pendulum effect. Now, personal preference, do you think the election was fair?
I think where there's smoke, there's fire. There seems to be quite a bit of smoke to completely say.
Now, I'm not going to say that it was rigged, but again, if I smell it,
It was fishy.
it was fishy as fuck. And here's the thing, nothing was able to be proven. I think the left could have done such a better job instead of
just based off of. I mean, I'm not going to throw facts and all this other articles all over the place, but just seeing what any politician has done and has gotten away with. I mean, there's been Hillary's whole shebang, like just seeing a lot of the stuff that has passed through and just went under people's nose by blindsiding people with a pandemic or Black Lives Matter or all the stuff that they slide under our noses. It wouldn't even come close to surprising me that a whole election could be fucked up.
like
On purpose. Like,
so
it would not surprise me.
yeah, and we won't go into
And it's even it's doable.
It's doable.
That's the sad thing. Like, it's doable, and I accept that because I know how shady these people can be.
and
On
that
both sides, in fact.
this is the whole pretense into whether you're liberal or you're conservative. Success is success.
Like,
And
I know when we were watching the election, when we were like, oh man, Trump's not going to get in. First thing I thought of was not necessarily, the country or anything like that. I was like, crap, our business is going to get fucking hit
hard.
hard. I mean, we barely survive as
Barely.
it is. And then, no fault to our own, we're just going to have to magically pay another 20 grand a year for no reason. That we're never going to see. It's not an investment to anything in our future. It's never going to actually go to anything, because what has Illinois done with any of our money ever?
Ever.
It goes to Chicago. We help Chicago. That's all we do. We support Chicago. And we get penalized for it. We work our asses off. Once, they change the tax bracket back up to like 25 or 27, whatever percent it was.
I think it was in the
It's-
30s.
It's going to be a lot. That's a lot of money that could have been allocated to giving our guys raises or, funding for our machines, stuff like that. I mean, this is just a personal, business kind of a thing.
And you have to understand that not every business is equal. You can't look at the corporate giants and look at the small business owners and lump them together.
And a lot of these businesses kind of think the same way, like, oh crap, we have to, yeah, sure, you want to tax all these people or you want to, punish, the strong or whatever, but you're evidently, you're hurting everybody else too. Like, you affect one business, you affect all the people under it too. It trickles down, pyramid scheme style. It goes all the way down.
And there's
If we get hit hard with taxes, our employees, our contractors, their families get hard with it. They get hit harder, and it just trickles down.
But that's the thing with us. We will fight our asses off to make sure that our employees don't get hurt. And, make the sacrifices that we have to move forward, because that encompasses the complete picture of happy employees, happy business. And, you can't look at small businesses the same as giant corporations. If you want to do that tax rate, you need to have a tier tax rate. But a tier tax rate to where, certain incomes get taxed and it's not a clear cut across the board. If you're really trying to go after those millionaires and billionaires, which if you do the math, it's not even going to make a dent in it. You have to tax everybody to do what they're going after. So if you really think that, they're going to stop at this and they're just going to leave you there, it's not how it's ever worked.
The way they roll it out is small segments at a time. They push the envelope so far. They push it, they stop for a minute, then they come back and push it, stop a minute. It's almost like your favorite thing in the world is sprinkles. You love sprinkles. You like ice cream and sprinkles. You get it every day. It's your choice. You get it. Ice cream and sprinkles. government comes and takes your entire ice cream cone away, you have no ice cream. But then they just give you a cone back. But you're so happy because you got that cone. So now you got a cone, and that's all you got. That's kind of how we're in right now.
And, you know, it goes into the fashion of we could be super doom and gloom right now. Like, they've got a filibuster. They literally control every aspect of government besides the Supreme Court completely. And that really isn't going to do much in the grand scheme of things. I mean, there are no checks and balances at this point. And for business owners, take this for example. So just so you know, we don't like hate liberals. One of our mentors and current business partners is a Democrat. And, you know, like, we'll have just, you know, cool little banter conversations. But when it really comes down to the brass tacks, it's not about the personal belief. It's what we're doing, what we're accomplishing, you know, the success and moving forward and whatnot. And we never skip a beat, ever. And so just to give you a background, it's not like we, you know, just constantly only have conservative ideas around us. You know, America's a melting pot, and it should always be a melting pot. And what I am seeing with everything is, number one, super scary, just from a business standpoint. And it should not only scare people that are in business, but it should scare everybody. What do you do?
I have to pee.
Oh, okay. It should really, you should really be looking at things and have a plan of action, have money set aside, because it's generally always comes with a transition of power that you see either economic growth or you see an economic crash. And from the way the stock market rose over the last 4 years, I would almost guarantee, and this is I'm just preparing for this, just to be prepared, an economic destruction coming. And I'm not saying that is, you know, the liberals' fault or the conservatives' fault. I'm just saying, when I look at it economically, I see money being allocated better on the conservative side, even though they don't allocate money perfectly by any means at all. Take, for instance, this last, you know, the relief bill that got passed. How insane is it that a lot of people, and I have a lot of servers on my Facebook, I have bartenders on my Facebook, waitresses, and they haven't gotten paid in a long time, and they give you $600, and then they give these other countries millions upon millions upon millions of dollars, even getting close to, oh, how much was the bill? It was, wasn't it $1 billion something? It was, I thought it was closer to a trillion, 900 billion. Yeah, wasn't it 900 billion? Yeah. And, you know, I'm sorry to be selfish, but I think that should 100% went to, number one, the American people, and getting our country straight to where
It's just weird how the process is. Like, it took, when did they start going into Congress for the second relief and all this crap? It was back in June, July.
You had Nancy Pelosi blocking this just because it had to do with Trump. Mm-hmm. You couldn't give a win to Trump. And that's fine. Fuck Trump. Like, am I a believer in what he did? Absolutely. Do I think he's personally the best human on the planet? Absolutely not. But when it came to what was done in his 4 years, it was literally the most movement that America has had in a very long time. The GOP, or not GOP, the GPA was, I believe, around like a 1.9 at the end of Obama's term. And it's into the fours right now, or it was at least before the virus hit, and that's better for everybody. More money is better for everybody. Again, I'm against big corporations, basically screwing their people over and whatnot. So, these top people can sit and make millions of dollars.
Well, and a thing I was thinking, like, I don't necessarily go on the news and just kind of read a bunch of shit. I kind of just think to myself first. And you got to think that a lot of these businesses, these chain businesses, how well they're able to survive in a pandemic where they can limit, the people, their hours, their store costs. Like, how many stores that are doing drive-ups, pickups, and, deliveries, all that, and making almost the same amount of money?
If not more.
Like
the big companies, Amazon,
now they can
massive.
Completely cut down on buildings, travel,
office space,
all of that.
Yep.
And that's just cutting costs all
and
over.
guess what? Here's the thing: when and if everything goes back to normal, if you don't think these companies aren't going to implement that, Skype calls, less office space, stuff like that, of course they are. Absolutely.
I mean, Kevin O'Leary was saying that he saved hundreds of millions of not traveling, from planes and all this stuff, just doing office setups. And now, why would they go back to spending that when they could recoup that money?
I mean, and here's the thing. Here's the bad thing. Here's the facts. They're not going to recoup that money
now they're going to
and
tax
divvy
them
it out.
well, too. They're going to see that some people are not, like, if you go in a budget and your business budget's $5 million and 500 million of it, or 500,000 of it is on travel, and you're not spending that on travel now, they're going to find a way to take that $500,000 away because it's in your budget. You're supposed to spend it, so they're going to try to make you spend it in taxes or other bull crap anyway.
There's two ways, and I'm trying to play devil's advocate here and really try to deep dive into the psyche of success in business. You can be a shitty human being and be successful. But does that mean that shitty human being that literally when he maybe started up his company and made his money and made the sacrifices and woke up at 2 a.m. every day and, was depressed or had bad thoughts, it went through all these bad things to get his company where it was, should he be penalized for making that amount of money? No, I don't think so. He's the one that did it. He's the one that literally stuck his neck on the chopping block. Now, do I think as a human purpose that maybe they should want to reinvest in their company more and reinvest in their employees more and stuff like that? Sure, absolutely. Are we going to? As much as humanly possible. Like, I didn't start this stuff to sit on top of a throne, on top of people, and rule down. I'm not about that. I want to show other people.
And that's another, like, just business in general. I mean, we could ourselves be probably personally better off if we did do things, that kind of a way. We could pay guys even crappier pay, or we can, we can do a lot of stuff to elevate our own personal status, and we don't think that way.
So
we don't want to hurt. We want to, we want our people staying with us, and that work ethic. And
well, here's the facts. I mean, we did it when we didn't have any money or money coming in. Who was getting paid?
Not us.
Us.
Everybody else but us.
Our guys were getting paid.
We did not let any person, no one lost a payment during any of this.
Zero.
We went negative on machine payments. We went negative on insurance payments. We went behind on every truck payments. We deferred. We did everything we could, not even paying ourselves, just to pay our guys.
And that's 100% fact. And like he was saying, we could have said, well, we started this business, we started this company, we should get paid.
Which we do get paid more than our guys, but we have a lot more responsibilities.
Absolutely.
And all that, but we pay them a fairly decent wage to what we're profiting and lossing, and
Like this next year, I can guarantee our guys make more money. I would literally stake my life on it. And hopefully, if everything goes right.
And we haven't been working the last few weeks, and we've set things up to where we can pay our guys basically more than they were actually making just on the days because they've been off this whole time. So I want to make sure they're good. I want to make sure everybody's got bills coming in and paid off.
What's that do to us if we're like, okay, guys, you guys got to take 2 or 3 weeks off, and
Good luck getting money.
yeah, good luck. And then they say, well, we can't work for you anymore. We gotta get a different job. And then we're screwed when we start this big push because we were greedy and we didn't want to take care of them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that does nothing for us to move forward. That makes it harder for us to move forward. And so I have mixed opinions on what these giants, especially right now, because I'm pissed right now. Like what I'm seeing people have to go through that are, you know, I've seen multiple businesses that have been in business for 40 years go out of business because of this crap that's going on. And I'm not underplaying it. I'm not any of this. But here's the thing. I will survive this. And that's the mindset that I have. I will move forward. I will get through this. I will get Legacy opened up. And I will move forward. And that's his motto 100%. And what I'm seeing going on and the people fighting and hating and just craziness, and I'm over here just like, yeah, that stresses me out a lot actually, but I still have to do this, and keep moving forward so I can keep these people moving forward. And it's terrifying to say the least. You know, we made it through a pandemic, even though the pandemic's not over. We've already made it this far. It's not taking us out. But who knows with the regulations that could be coming.
Mm-hmm. I mean, before episodes, we've been fortunate enough to our work isn't directly impacted by what's going on. We've had some third party direct, impact kind of hit us with some shrapnel, that's
like
slowed us down a
companies
little
like,
bit.
the issue the work, maybe they don't have the office people in there, so work's getting out much slower, stuff like that. But it's very important when you are dealing with all this to, number one, think about it logically and don't get all crazy. Like, there's a lot of hypocrisy that I see. Like, do I condone? Again, I've never been to a Trump rally. I wouldn't have time to go to a Trump rally. Do I like what he did? Absolutely. Did I support him? Absolutely. And if you don't like me because of that, it's going to do next to nothing to me. I'm going to keep moving my life forward. On that same note, what these people did in going and breaching Congress, which I can understand their viewpoints, it's, the people's house and all that, and they're taxpayers, but to stop a process from taking place, as shady or not shady as it may have been, is not the way to do things. It's elevating, again, the Republican Party needs to elevate their game. And I'm not saying in a shady manner, because I think shade will always shine through in light, and it's always going to cast a shadow. So if it was shady, eventually it's going to come out, or it's going to show up later down the road. And what I'm worried about now is the tax impacts and the new restrictions on the virus, because I guarantee this, if a Democratic leader had been in office during this pandemic, that vaccine would not be out right now. That I can guarantee because it's never happened in history. So there's nothing to base that opinion on whatsoever. It's happened. Here's the fact. It happened. And any vaccine, they've always said, takes 2 to 4 years or even longer to create. Well, this one didn't. So, and even with this vaccine, there's a lot of control that I am seeing going on. And when people have control, they generally do not like to give it up. And they're seeing their pockets go up. The big corporation pockets go up. I don't know if there's a big corporation that really even got impacted to say that maybe there is, but not from locally that I've really seen. And I've just seen a lot of small businesses like get hammered by this.
And then, like, that's like one of those points. Like, if you live in a smaller town, or even, you know, Springfield's a bigger city, you know, like the small businesses, like, how, for people that are okay with helping other people, how are you okay with all of this happening to all these people? You know, all these businesses, like I said, they're all families, they all have families, they all have employees that have families, and it's just so many more people affected by, you know, cutting out the small businesses that people aren't seeing necessarily.
Like in the bill, like I don't know how many people actually looked into it or whatnot, but you know, this last relief, they sent, I believe, $100 million to, I believe, and I could be wrong, Iran for, I don't know the exact terminology, but basically for women over there to open bank accounts. So to, like, I don't know, to teach them or to give the banks money so they'll actually be able to open them. I know they don't have a lot of rights over there. But again, that is something to tackle after the fact. After America is,
And that's
straight.
That's so weird is when, like I said, they started this whole fighting over this relief bill, I think back in June, July. It was earlier in the year, and they finally resolved it coincidentally after the election. And
She even said it.
like, it's just weird that they have this huge debate and problem with giving the American people money, but they slide a document over that says give all these countries money.
Not even a 500-page.
Don't even care. They don't even look it over. They don't fight over it. They don't bicker. They don't amend it. They don't do anything. They just pass it along.
Well, they try to, and then they're like, oh no, we need to waste all this money, basically. Not that it's a waste, but again, what's the priority? I see not a lot of prioritization for the American people, and that's an issue to me. And that is why I have my belief system, and I can't get on board with a lot of the liberal ideologies. And it's not that they're bad people or that I think they're stupid or any of that, because when you live life, you're going to develop your own idea system, your own route, and that's your route, and you like that route, and that's your idea. You're going to do that. I am all for that. Have all the routes. You know, believe what you want to believe. If you're not a Christian, if you're a Christian, if you're an atheist, Christian. Like, doesn't believe in God, believes in God. Do we fight over that? No. He shares an idea, he shares a logic. I share a more philosophical kind of, you know, I guess you could call it a loopy thing compared to the logic. And he takes keys away from that, and I take keys away from that, and we move forward. And that's the most important thing that I think that people really need to get back to, is sharing their ideas, their morals, not being like,
did a bat just fall out of the ceiling? What the hell was that?
Where?
Did you not see that?
no.
Something just fucking fell. It's
Oh.
huge.
But again, like the craziness and the hypocrisy, like the media, I won't watch the media anymore.
No,
They're
that's-
dead.
I mean,
They've killed themselves. To me,
I'm
at
gonna
least.
go on my own little tidbit of a rant. Like, I hate the media. I have Facebook. I have stuff like that, but it's purely just for family and all that kind of relations. I don't get news from Facebook. I mean, a lot of my news apps I have on my phone, they're so, I'm not saying it's bad to be one lean or another, but the left has so much control over the media. It's crazy. Like, I saw that from the Congress stuff that was happening. Did you see the grid of all of the people that they posted that they got face IDs for from Congress? They posted it all. They're going to go after all these people. What happened to the Black Lives Matter rioters? Why wasn't that posted? Why didn't you see grids of people looting and breaking shit and hurting people literally posted all over Facebook saying, hey, let's find these people, let's make them accountable? Just weird to me.
You know, then that goes into the Antifa stuff, and you've got literally militias working, okay? So when you say the one time, literally, that conservatives really fucked up, and you have an entire year of cities burning and shit, small businesses getting burnt to the ground, big businesses getting looted, and there's like, they were literally like, oh, it's mostly peaceful.
Yeah.
That's all you heard was it's mostly peaceful. If you look at the pictures and
there were so
these
many,
cities are on fire.
Their Facebook was blocking videos of the physical looting of, you know, people sharing all this stuff was getting blocked, but then you can share all this Congress stuff, which, you know, I get is wrong too, but come on, where's the truth? Where's the unbiasedness?
Like, yes, where is the truth? That's what I want to get
Justice.
to. Like, if it's wrong here, it's wrong here, and
to say one is right and the other is wrong is just complete.
And like, I do not stand with the people that basically broke into Congress,
broke the law.
They broke the law. Period. The end. And I really just think from the business standpoint that there's a lot of craziness going on. A lot of small businesses are really getting turds.
I mean, imagine being a small business that was told to shut down and then earlier in the year get rioted and get fucked over.
Can you imagine if our equipment like got you know, vandalized or something like that, like,
or destroyed?
I would probably literally puke. Like, I don't even know what the next step after that would be. And it was not only, it was repeatedly happening. And so I think everybody really needs to do this diplomatically, calm down.
And I don't know, like, it's so weird to be, like, I get the whole, when the riot was going on, the whole Floyd, whatever, yeah, be behind that. But be behind every single fucking one that happens before and after that. How many shootings have gone on since then? Thousands. How many riots have happened? Zero. How many news coverage? Zero. No one cares.
Like, it really seemed like it was more about
for 1 minute, and then that's it.
The movement, or not the movement, but the agenda is a much better word, versus what the actual movement was about. And that's where it lost me. And I'm violence or craziness of that nature in any sphere. Zero spheres. And
yeah, like, I mean, protesting, all that, I'm for that. I've even been in a protest myself.
You were?
Did a protest march.
Wasn't it a liberal one too?
It was against Scientology.
It was against Scientology? Like, how random.
This young man. I mean, it you know, it was very peaceful, walking around with signs, you know, just normal things. Like, that's, I feel like you have the freedom of speech and you can say what you want, but when you start, you know, enacting violence and wall breaking, like, come on, it's just
like, it's no bueno right now. And
like, what makes us any better than any of the criminals we've locked up? It makes us just like them.
So it's the main thing to this is, I would say, watch and prepare business wise. I have seen a lot of posts that they're very stressed out with what has transpired. I'm not gonna lie, we had the most hope that we've had in a long time, business wise, under Trump. And notice how I'm not going to talk about the other things that he's done. I'm going to talk about the business stuff, the things that directly affected us personally. And it's a weird world right now.
With how everything's went. I mean, we're a little sad about it, and it sucks and all that. But we're not going to go. He's not my president. Bullshit. We're not going to riot. We're not going to do anything.
I'm going to keep moving forward.
Yeah, we got to move forward. We adapt. If they're going to come at us, because we can't change the law on our own. If they're going to say, here, you got to do this, do that, do these things, we're going to we're going to just evolve, and we're going to go through it. Like the goddamn train.
I was going to be like, we used to be on the Trump train.
Oh, Lord.
But I really hope that things are shooken up enough to where it kind of develops a new way of going about stuff. And the two-party system just is a wreck. It is messed up. And I know, like I was saying, news-wise, I refuse to get my news from a mainstream source.
I think it was weird. It looked like you had a block on your views, because it wouldn't let me view it unless I requested it. It was weird.
No, it was probably already censored. Because that's how it goes. But
yeah, you speak your mind, you get blocked. Like this.
Yeah, and what happened with that?
Let's get into it now.
My God, like when did you having an opinion become nope, that's detrimental?
Because opinions are powerful. People's free will is power. It gives people the power inside.
Like I would
opinions, free will. That's like how fucking V for Vendetta was. Like they shut down all people's opinions, all people's power, locked them in a grid where they can be controlled, and you get this and this only, and you're happy. Like, do you want people to walk around with zombies just the same, everybody the same? Like who wants that? I don't like half the shit that's been spout out there, but I have the option to not listen to it. I know it's an opinion because there's no facts backing it up, this or that. I don't care. It's your opinion. Like, you don't have to convince me nothing. I just don't care, and I could turn away from it. Or if I'm interested, I like that opinion, whatever. It's not a big deal.
Slippery slope when you start controlling ideas and what people can say, what people can believe, whether they be super bad, whether they be super good. You could have the next greatest idea in the world if it's super not in the the scope of what somebody else believes. Maybe they censor it. Maybe the big tech doesn't like it. And so those are just kind of the things business-wise that I'm seeing. I'm seeing a lot of censorship. I'm seeing a huge tax hike coming up, and it's very scary, and you should definitely be preparing. And if you're in business, you probably are preparing. But this is a trickle-down effect, and it will reach the average people very quickly, and I hope it doesn't. And that the whole premise to this isn't to ram our ideas down your throat, but in business you're going to have beliefs, you're going to have a certain way you go about it, and this plays into it. It's all about the circle of improvement and moving forward and looking at things. Does this fit me? Does that fit me? And not being completely biased. Everybody's going to be biased in some way, shape, or form. But if you miss a crucial detail that maybe this side has a much better idea about going about things, you're going to miss it, and you're not going to be able to capitalize on that. And I really hope the best for the country. Biden is my president. and I'm not even really mad about it. I would have really loved to deep dive into some of the election results, and I think that would have been a really good idea for the left to do, and putting people's minds at rest. And but that didn't necessarily happen. I mean, it went to a lot of courts, and a lot of courts basically shot it down, and that's just the way it is. So this is probably not going to be our most liked video or tracked video, but it just comes into play to where we're going to have to offset what could potentially be coming and prepare for it so we can continue being in business and continue moving forward. And sometimes you have to talk about things that are uncomfortable or deal with things that are uncomfortable. And that is just the way life works. And if you got upset about any of the comments, I will apologize to you. It wasn't to upset you. We're just basically saying what our belief system is through the business side of things.
I'm not sorry.
And we're definitely not out here to rain on anybody's parade.
We're old school. We don't get hurt by words. If you get hurt by words, that's your problem. That's my thought on it.
Or that. Why don't you just throw a turd at the screen? But, it's going to get crazy, I think, personally, and it's definitely time to...
See, this is the different things. He's all in it, thinks it's going to be this way. I just kind of bury my head and just keep going with what I got to do. So, I mean, it's going to affect us in some aspects, but I'm not going to let it affect us full term, long term, or nothing like that. We're just gonna counteract anything that comes our way and just.
I mean, just to give you,
we lived through, what was it, 16 years of dim, fucking presidency. We can do another little bit.
Yeah, another 8 years, I'm sure. That's fine. But just to give you the final words, this is probably going to be one of the only political-esque videos that we do, because you can't just avoid this stuff. You can't hide and pretend like it doesn't exist, because taxes matter to business people, and regulation matters to business people, and these are things that little tiny guys have to really look at and really prepare, because we're not sitting on $100 million in a corporation that we can just be like, okay, well, he's fired, she's fired, we'll cut money here, we'll cut our full-time
greeter anymore. Screw that.
And we have to make sure our employees are safe and going to make money for their families and their lives to move forward. So we have to look at all these angles and how the taxes are going to affect us. What other shit sandwich are we going to eat so they don't have to eat it? And that's how we, as business owners, try to operate. It may not work like that all the time, but that's also business. Things happen that's unforeseen. Our machine could literally blow up, and then there's nothing we can do. Knock on all the wood. All the wood. But, hopefully that doesn't happen. But that is it for the 7th episode.
Podcast.
It was a little
ranty,
but it is what it is. When you're stressed out, you're going to speak your mind, and this is still America, and you are all entitled to your opinions. And never forget.
Never surrender?
No.
What?
To give it everything.
Oh, everything I got!